bacon-wrapped goodies, revelatory flavor combinations, and some overly ambitious fillets. This is the best and worst of Costco's seafood offerings. If you've never bought salmon that was pre-packaged on a Cedar plank, you're missing out. Cedar provides a unique smokiness that adds a wonderful layer of flavor. This is why the Cedar plank salmon with hickory maple sauce at Costco is a great buy for anyone who loves a combination of sweet, savory, and smoky. It's also convenient that the plank is already prepped and ready to go. So the aroma from the Cedar plank lends a nice layer of smokiness, but it's the hickory maple sauce that takes it to the next level. The glaze is thick but not overwhelming, while the sweetness of the mix balances out the savory fish flavor nicely. Kids might hesitate to take a bite of a salmon fillet, but they'll suddenly hop aboard the fish train if it arrives in stick form.
Oh yeah, fish sticks are dope.
Sadly, Trident Seafood's frozen Alaskan Pollock fish sticks are not so dope, as it turns out. Each bag comes with 60 uncooked and panko-breaded fish sticks. The picture on the bag makes it look as if the oven-baked result will have delicate golden brown casings with beautifully flaky interiors. But this is not the case whatsoever. The breading is way too thick, and you'll feel like you're munching on fried panko instead, while the fish on the inside is minimal and bland. If you've never tried it before, it might seem weird to combine shrimp and coconut flavors. If so, you're missing out, because coating shrimp in coconut and dropping it into the deep fryer is one of the tastiest ways to enjoy this succulent crustacean. And that's why the Aqua Star coconut-breaded butterfly shrimp at Costco is such a great investment. One of the biggest concerns when buying frozen fried food is how the breading does or doesn't hold up. But you don't have to worry about losing any crispiness in this case. So pop a tray of these golden brown suckers in the oven and then enjoy some delicious shrimp with a slightly sweet and nutty breaded coating. Whenever you buy fish that touts itself as sashimi quality, you expect it to be the highest grade of seafood you can get. Since sashimi is consumed raw, vendors need to make sure that every cut is truly okay for human consumption, lest they want to be hit with a lawsuit. But even though the Aysén Coho salmon fillets at Costco are stamped sashimi quality, you should still avoid them. After thawing, the texture of the fish falls apart into gnarly, rugged pieces. Simply put, that's never a texture you want in any kind of food, let alone a delicate fish. If you love seafood, it's hard to resist a good crab cake. When it's made properly with high-quality meat, few seafood dishes can rival its texture and flavor, and Rastelli Market Jumbo Lump crab cakes deliciously achieve that goal. These cakes are portioned in lumps of 4-ounce jumbo crab meat, so they certainly don't skimp on the juicy goodness. Too often, crab cakes are mostly made up of binders meant to keep a disappointingly skimpy amount of crab together. But thankfully, that's not the case here. Salmon burgers are normally a fantastic option if you want the ease of a handheld meal but don't want to consume red meat. Ideally, a salmon burger is packed with flavor but not overly fishy. It should also have a delicate texture similar to a lovingly prepared fillet. Sadly though, the Trident Seafood's Alaskan salmon burgers don't live up to all those qualifications. These burgers aren't overly fishy, but they don't pack in nearly enough salmon flavor. Furthermore, the consistency is tough and gummy. Overall, you'd be better off portioning off some extra time and making your own salmon burgers at home. Sometimes you're in the mood for a burger, but you want more surf than turf on your plate. With that in mind, the Northwest Fish Alaskan Sockeye Salmon Cheddar Bacon Burger Patties are an excellent way to get some delicious fish in your diet while also lending subtle bacon flavor to a surf and turf experience. Each patty has a boatload of salmon, with a hint of Wisconsin cheddar and bacon for a nice triplet of flavor. The cheddar and bacon take a backseat to the salmon, as each patty wallops you with 37 grams of protein too. And you don't have to limit these to lunch or dinner, as they make for a pleasing breakfast option as well. How could you say no to something called Boom Boom Shrimp?
Sounds pretty good, right?
That sounds great.
It's such a fun name, and shrimp is just an all-around great seafood option. Sadly, the goofy moniker of this offering from Northern Chef doesn't result in a similarly enjoyable eating experience. The overly intense amount of breading is the biggest issue here. The bag states that each shrimp has just a light coating of batter. However, once you pop one of these in your mouth, you'll realize that that's not the case at all. With a name like Boom Boom, you'd think there'd be something truly unique about these shrimp, but that's simply not the case. Instead, it's just one big disappointment. Any seafood enthusiast who has a particularly fond interest in crustaceans knows that Dungeness crabs are some of the best out there. This variety is known for its tender meat and sweet flavor. One issue that can plague crab legs is their lack of meat, and that's exactly why the Northwest Fish Wild Dungeness crab sections are such a great buy. Simply put, it's a whole lot of succulent crustacean. Each pack comes with 10 pounds of crab legs that are fully cooked and ready to eat. And these are some seriously thick, hefty limbs. The meat is bursting with its characteristic sweetness and a subtle oceanic flavor, and Costco customers love it not only for its taste, but also for its ease of handling and generous portions. Scallops are kind of like the filet mignon of the ocean world. They sit on the plate as glorious, glistening medallions, and when cooked right, the texture is like butter. When you want a truly delicate and silky seafood meal, you opt for scallops. Alas, when it comes to the Kirkland signature raw sea scallops at Costco, it doesn't quite work out as it should. Scallops are meant to almost melt in your mouth, but with this Kirkland variety, you'll be confronted with rubbery medallions of disappointment. They have a frustrating texture, which also throws the flavor off, as they don't pack that delicate buttery taste that we all crave. They're simply not worth your money.
This sucks.
Octopus tentacles may not be the most enticing thing to look at. These sucker-filled extremities dangling off one of the oddest creatures in the ocean depths may not be everyone's idea of great food, but anyone who's explored the world of these 8-armed sea dwellers knows that their meat is deliciously delicate and chock full of gentle ocean flavor. That's why the El Rey del Pulpo octopus tentacles are a great find at Costco. Octopus tentacles can be cooked in a variety of ways, and as long as you follow the instructions, the result is tender meat that falls apart in your mouth. You can even literally cut it with a fork. Even better, these tentacles pack a huge amount of protein, barely any fat, and almost no carbs. When a freshly boiled lobster is plopped down in front of you, chances are that you know exactly which part you're most excited about: the tail. It houses the most meat, and few eating experiences rival the satisfaction of breaking through that bright red exoskeleton. This is exactly why so many customers have been let down by both the cold water and warm water lobster tails from Northwest Fish. When tackling a lobster tail, you expect something that's going to have a very satisfying amount of meat, but that's simply not the case here. And freshness, or lack thereof, is also a problem. As one customer review put it on Costco's website, these are horrible, smelled very fishy even when frozen, and they were not rotten. Tried to eat one and threw it away. How do you make most foods infinitely better? By wrapping them in everyone's favorite pork product.
Bacon.
That's right. Salt-cured pork adds an ultra-savory umami flavor that's simply irresistible. That's why if you love bacon and seafood, the Northwest Fish Bacon-wrapped scallops need to find their way into your shopping cart immediately. These scallops are plump and buttery, which tastes especially pleasing with a strip of bacon wrapped around each one. As they cook, the bacon fat seeps into the meat, producing one astoundingly delectable bite. Not only are they delicious, they're also quite aesthetically pleasing. You gotta love food that's both delectable and easy on the eyes. Even people who enjoy a fillet of oven-cooked salmon can give it a pass when it's been smoked. Smoked salmon can have a very intense salt-forward flavor that immediately turns plenty of people off. But if it's been properly cured and smoked, salmon will have a delicate texture that's slightly oily and just a bit salty. It shouldn't be so salty that you feel like you need several glasses of water. Ultimately, smoked salmon needs a carefully balanced flavor, and that's just not the case with Kirkland's signature smoked salmon. Each package comes with 6 servings of 2 slices each, meaning that one package should feed 3 people. But anyone who loves smoked salmon knows that it's not filling, so it's easy to toss back a whole package without even thinking about it. But with just over 600 milligrams of sodium per serving, going overboard could be quite detrimental to your blood pressure. Furthermore, the salmon doesn't have the right delicate, glistening texture you want. It's dry and falls apart when you try to remove a piece. For many seafood lovers, lobster reigns supreme. Its meat is sweet and slightly salty, and it has a juicy firmness that pleases the palate. If you don't feel like putting in the legwork to crack a whole lobster apart, you can always enjoy a creamy bowl of lobster bisque. And the Kirkland Signature Lobster Bisque is an absolute delight. A proper bisque shouldn't be too thin, but it also shouldn't be so thick that it's difficult to eat. Kirkland's has a wonderful silky texture that coats your mouth, but not in an obnoxiously intense way. The lobster flavor is super prevalent, and every sip makes you feel as if you're indulging in a super juicy chunk of lobster meat. It's so good, you might just believe you're enjoying a night out at an upscale seafood joint.
That's fancy. That's fancy.
Plenty of people have eaten tuna salad out of a can, but not as many people have had the pleasure of downing a gorgeously deep red tuna fillet. And that's a shame. Ahi Tuna, also known as yellowfin, is one of the most popular types of this particular fish to come in fillet form, and it can taste absolutely wonderful when prepared correctly. At Costco, you can purchase a case of individually packaged ahi tuna steaks, but we recommend directing your attention elsewhere. No one wants to bite into something and feel a rush of salt on their palate. But that's a very real possibility with these fillets that are salty to the max. Reviews on Costco's website have noted that the tuna wasn't fresh and tasted as if it had been sitting around for too long to make it as a raw or cooked ingredient. If you're able, a much better option is to find a reputable fishmonger to help you discern if your seafood is actually fresh.